Let's call it a beauty mark.
Okay.
We are live. Happy Wednesday, happy Wednesday, happy Wednesday. You are tuned into Transitions, Life, Lessons, and Legacy. I am Hyacinth Henderson, joined by the one and only my father.
Robert Henderson Jr., yes, the one and only in the flesh, president, founder of the Henderson Financial Group and Henderson Insurance and Henderson Realty. And we've been in business for over 30 years, and we're a full service financial planning operation. We help you to we go in the future and bring and help you design your future right now in the present. That's our motto. A lot of people like, I should have did. Well, now is your chance. That's what the Henderson Financial Group is all about, helping you prepare for the future now in the present. And we love it. And we love it. I know it's hard for a lot of people to understand that, but that's how it's done. Otherwise, you're going to always be behind the eight ball. A dollar late, a dollar short,
A
always
day late
missing
and a
out.
dollar short.
Day late, dollar short, always missing out. So we're trying to have you get ahead of the curve, so to speak, And today, Wednesdays now, some of you all listen to this. On Wednesday, me and my daughter, the show is called Transitions because we talk a lot about the mind, understanding the mind, because the mind is the foundation of everything and prosperity. It's like the wheels on a car. It's like the foundation of a house, because you don't have a good foundation. When the wind blows, storm comes, your house come crumbling down. So we have to fix a lot that's not seen, and most people want to only deal with the outside. But here on transition, we talk a lot about the cause, and the effects are later. But if you do and you get your mind straight, the effects will be beautiful, and you'll have a wonderful, prosperous, healthy life. Like that healthy part.
Oh, yeah. I love that. I
Yes,
love that. So, did we introduce me yet? No, we didn't. I'll introduce myself.
you
You-
started off.
yeah, but I don't think I introduced myself. So, I'm Hyacinth Henderson by day when the light is. Let's give a shout out for the sun today.
The sun.
No rain, no clouds.
Yeah.
Do you realize that for the past maybe week or so,
Yes.
it has been rainy, overcast, freezing cold?
Well, it depends on where you are.
I'm talking about in Miami. It's
Oh,
been
okay.
so. It's
Yeah.
been.
Yeah, it has been really, really. It's been raining like 3-4
Oh my
days straight
gosh.
since the weekend. Since weekend, yeah, it's been raining. I didn't get a chance to ride my bike Sunday because it was just
It's
pouring down
raining.
rain. Like, I thought about, like, the big flood, Noah,
Yeah.
looking for Noah's Ark.
And the sun is just so it's doing its thing today. It was speaking to me saying, Hyacinth, go to the beach. Go to the beach, girl. Go to the beach. Drive your car to the beach.
Oh, today?
Today.
No, we got a lot of work to do.
Right. So I'm here. Yet again,
You
I'm
going
here.
tomorrow?
Maybe not.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure. But I
All
will
right.
do
Shout
that.
out to the sun. Thank God for the sun. We need the sun. We need everybody.
Absolutely. We do. So, yes. So licensed stockbroker, investment advisor, representative, and all that good stuff. I've been doing this for about 20 years. And today we are actually streaming on YouTube as well as Facebook.
Oh man, that's super.
So we're streaming simultaneously on Facebook and YouTube. So for those of you out there who are like, I don't like Facebook, I don't really like Facebook, or if you have friends, lovers, family members, your tribe who does not do Facebook, sound the alarms and let them know that they can also watch us on YouTube.
That's good.
Okay. So, all right, let's get into today's topic. So today's topic, I think I titled it, You Picked Your Parents and Your Problems.
Oh man! Now those
Mhm.
those of you all who watched us last Wednesday,
Mm-hmm.
Heisey and I, we were really having a deep conversation, and we kind of segue into who picked who, and that you pick yourself. And we really came from talking about blame. You can't really blame anyone because me, myself, and I. You are the director, you're the producer, you are the writer, you're the actor or actress of your own life, and you play your role. And you can play any role you want to because you're in control. You're the thinker that think the thoughts. And it kind of segue into, wait a minute, there's no excuse because we picked our parents.
Well, I think the title of last week's show was the blueprint. Like, why are you following the blueprint?
Right.
So we were talking about in life that there are blueprints, and why don't some people follow the blueprint? Like,
Right.
it's laid out for you. You can pick a blueprint. You want to be successful. You want to be a ball player. You want to be an investment advisor. Whatever it is that
There's
you
a
want to be,
plan.
there's a blueprint already in existence.
Even if you want to be a robber, a crook,
right.
a drug dealer,
If you
there's a
want to be
blueprint.
Big Meech, right? You want to be the biggest boss thus far.
That's
There's
right.
a blueprint for
Put
it.
you're gonna be Big Meech and put
Right.
your face on the billboard.
There's a blueprint. So
Right.
during that discussion, Mr. Henderson, he just couldn't understand why some people don't pick the blueprint, or they see the blueprint and they don't follow it.
Right. They don't say, okay, this is the blueprint I want. I mean, because you
Mhm.
notice, like a lot of preachers, most preachers follow the blueprint, especially the Southern Baptist preachers. You know
Mhm.
that,
Can I get a witness?
Yeah.
Can the church say amen?
Let the church say amen. If they do that right into movies, they got it down. That's a
Mhm.
blueprint. That's a script,
Mhm.
And then the evangelists, they have their script too. You know what I mean? And they talk slow or whatever. And then Jehovah's Witnesses have their script, and they have to sing hymns and everything. And the rappers have their script. You notice that? How they all walk the same way and they all do the same. That's a blueprint. If you want to be a rapper, you can't be up there saying, you have to do the movement.
So the masses generally follow a blueprint.
That's right.
First of all, let's give a shout out to Terrence Jones. He is joining us from YouTube. Thank you so much for being here. Tracy Tompkins is joining us on Facebook. Thank you for being here. So if you didn't catch last week's show talking about the blueprint, it is on our Facebook for now. I will put it on our YouTube as well.
Mm-hmm.
But you can go watch that to kind of, tie all the pieces together.
So on YouTube, what subject? What do you put in?
So this is streaming to my Hyacinth Henderson page.
Uh-huh.
The Saturday shows are going to stream to the Henderson Financial Group page. So I'm doing away with the Understanding Money page. So if you follow Understanding Money radio show on YouTube, I'm doing away with that page today. And you will be able to watch us on the Henderson Financial Group, because remember, I'm revamping the website.
So when you go to YouTube, you just put in the Henderson Financial Group and these shows will come up.
Yes, but make sure it's us, because we aren't, there's another Henderson Financial Group.
But it's just Henderson. They don't have the in front of it. You got to put the. If you say the, it's us.
YouTube. Yeah. So anyway, it'll be on YouTube. But right now, this is on Hyacinth Henderson. So if you want to watch the transitions on YouTube, you're going to watch it on Hyacinth Henderson. And if you want to watch the Understanding Money shows, part 1 and 2, you're going to watch that on the Henderson Financial Group YouTube. More details to come. But right now, in the moment, in the present, let's get into it. Let's talk about. So in last week's conversation, I said, hey, I don't want to come all the way out and get a little weird, but, our souls.
You call it weird or truth?
What I said last week. Maybe I said weird. I'm not sure, but I believe it to be true.
Okay.
So I said, I'm coming out. What did I say? I'm coming out. I'm going to strap on your seatbelt or something like that. Get ready. Because I understand that the masses have different beliefs, and it's okay if you have different beliefs. Let's start this off with me saying that my belief does not have to be your belief. All I'm asking you to do is have an open mind.
And it's just a thought. What if?
Have an open mind. So my belief is that we are souls who are living this life with our flesh, right? So you heard me say before, this is just skin. But before our souls before I came into this society, I'm going to be Hyacinth, born in Miami Beach, Florida in 1981. Before I decided that, I decided what lessons I was going to learn, what obstacles I was going to face, who my parents were going to be. I decided what I wanted to learn. And some people find that hard, because if you're having more challenging experiences, you may be asking, why on earth would I ever choose this life? And so my answer to that, my response to that is, most times when you say, why on ever would I, you're saying I from a fleshly place. You're looking at your body and your 3D and you're saying, why would I choose this? I want you to go a little deeper and be reminded that there is a soul that's actually powering the shell. The shell is the body. So the soul is powering the shell, and the soul, before you even, took your first breath, already said, this is what we're coming here to do. This is what we're coming here to learn. So the work then becomes you understanding that and figuring it out and actually learning the lessons. What do you think about that?
I like it.
What do you got to say about that?
I like it. I'm just trying to see how the audience is picking that up and they understand it. So what Heisey's saying, I do believe that we are way more than we can even imagine. We just don't understand. And we've been programmed from day one in this country in terms of education on really what to think, not really how to think. And most of us don't use our God-given talent that we're equipped with, and what you want to do is believe in yourself and believe that you are more than what you think you are, because the system will have you thinking that you are lesser, that you're nothing, that you're not worthy. And that's just not true. You were created and you have a choice. It's just a lot of people find it difficult to when they have a drunk daddy and a crackhead mother, and to hear Icy say, well, you pick that person, you pick that vessel to come through in order to, into the universe. In other words, you pick that person to come into this realm of reality. Now, getting a little deeper, there are other realities. In other words, there are other realms. But I think that each and every one of us, there is a purpose and there is a reason for everything. And I do believe everything is in divine order. I really, really believe in that. I think when you get out of alignment and you stray away from your purpose, then I think that you get like shock. A lot of pain comes. But the part about you pick your mother, like my father was started off, as he told me and my mother told me, a good guy, straight, clean cut kind of guy. But then when he went to the military, his story was that he learned how to smoke and drink, and when he got out, his self-esteem was low, and then he became a drunk, so to speak, so listening to that, him told me that, he told me that before he died, and my mother. So I said, wow. And I came out, I only have 2 older sisters and I'm the younger. So there was a lesson for me to learn. And I really was paying attention to what was going on. My mother asked me, do you know what's going on? I was 6 years old. I said, of course I know what's going on. She wanted to know, was I listening or I was conscious? But I really was. So when I'm looking back in my path and how far I have come, I can really believe I had to pick
your drunk daddy. But why do you think you picked your drunk daddy?
Because I needed to learn what not to do. Everybody that I've ever encountered, I look at them as there's a lesson for me to learn. Every last one, from somebody on the elevator, from someone who looks at me and I can tell that they don't care for me because of the color of my skin, I learned from them. And then I learned from, I've had everybody. I had a crackhead, someone who was, man and female, I mean, I've had all kind of walks of life, pimps, drug dealers. I've had all that. And to me, they were in my path for me to know, to look at and say, don't go that way.
I think, well, I agree with you because you don't like when I say I think, and I'm working on removing that from my vocabulary. So I agree with you. And I believe that there was a deeper lesson than what meets the eye. So the surface lesson is not to be a drunk.
Yes.
Right? That's what you would say. Are there any other surface lessons that you would say?
I would say, but not only a drunk, but follow the blueprint to success. Be able to recognize it and be able to, I mean, thank God. I mean, this time, as I said, this time I was not born in the 1600s or the 1800s, I mean, I don't have any recollection or knowledge of it. I'm pretty sure that I probably already did that route.
Would you like to know for sure? We can hypnotize you to find out.
Nah, I kind of know deep down inside.
You don't want to know what your name was in the 1600s?
Well, that's because it's irrelevant. I mean, what does it mean? I mean, what is it going to do for me now? And that is the past. I am where I am now. Just like I don't want to go back to the second grade teacher and sit in that class anymore. Well, Miss Robinson, I don't want to go back.
The life that you lived in the 1600s holds clues to this life and why you picked your daddy in this life. But I know you're not. It'll take some time for you to warm up to me hypnotizing you
you hypnotize me? Yeah.
To do a fast life regression.
I don't know if I'll wake up. I don't know. What if you make a mistake? Oops, daddy. No.
It'll take some time.
No.
Okay, so let's go back to, because I want the audience to get this. I want to connect on a deeper level. So on the surface, and grandmother said, she tells me this as well, that, he was such this great guy, a handsome guy. And then he went to the service and everything just changed. And you remember that, right? So you remember how he treated your mom and your siblings, and how I remember you saying that when you all had moved to South Florida, you moved to Opelika, he would call and lie and say he sent some money and things like that, and he still wouldn't do it. And he didn't do it. Right. And so all those lessons on the surface taught you not to be a drunk, to be there for your children, all 5 of us, right? It taught you that. However, I want to bring to your attention a deeper lesson that I believe you learned and maybe you didn't realize is unconditional love. So I remember whatever year that was when you took us, all of your children, well, not Bobby, but you took us to Chicago to see your daddy.
Right. Y'all had
in the hood.
And y'all was having a fit.
And there weren't enough beds.
Kicking and screaming all the whole way.
And that was I couldn't believe at that time why you made us do that. So here it is. Let me paint the picture. Here it is. A man. How old were you when you left Chicago?
6.
You left at 6,
6.
and then you didn't see him again until what age?
Until his mother, my grandmother, died
Mhm.
until I was 29.
29. So you left at 6. You didn't see him again until 29. And in the
At the
interim,
funeral.
he would call down to Miami. He would say, I sent you something. He would harass my grandmother. He would do all of these
Say he was
different
coming
things.
to my wedding.
Say he was coming to his wedding,
He's
all
coming
these
when
things.
you got born. He
coming
said
when
he'll
his-
be there. Right.
He just was doing a lot. He was doing the most.
Yeah.
And he never followed through. However, whatever year that was, it was well over 29. You packed us all up and you took us to see your dad in Chicago. And you said, I remember this, we're not staying in a hotel. We're going to stay in his house.
Right.
And we stayed in his house with limited bedrooms and beds.
In the hood.
Correct.
On the south side.
Correct.
Chicago, south side.
Correct. And it was quite an experience, but you were so insistent, persistent, and passionate about you taking your children to sleep in your father's house and to spend time with him and to eat that food and all those things like that. You were so insistent. And I wonder if you realized that was a display of unconditional love.
No, I did realize that I had it. And I still do it today. I look at everybody as individuals,
Mhm.
and everybody has an effect on my life. It's up to me to choose how it's going to enhance my life rather than actually go down and be mad about something.
And because that's such a lesson for you that you received and you continue to display, I know that in the 1600s, you were not that way. It was the opposite, right? Or the
You
18th.
say you know for
Oh
sure.
my, whatever, in one of your past lives, because we come here to correct what we weren't able to successfully or master in a previous life.
In other words, get the lesson.
Right.
So in other words, you believe that we'll keep coming back until we get the lessons. All of us eventually going to get to the promised land, but we have to be.
Well, what is the promise that all of
Well,
us eventually
metaphorically.
become an ascended master,
Right.
depending on the lessons and the lives that we live,
Yeah,
what
it's
we do during our
It's like
incarnation.
going to, you don't graduate until you pass a test, so to speak. And then you go to the next level and next level.
Mhm.
Every time you pass a test, you go to the next level in terms of consciousness and purity and realizing really who you are.
Mhm.
And it gets to a point where when you ascend, it could become very lonely because you don't have the
Mhm.
hate or the strife or
Mhm.
the envious or the jealousy.
Mhm.
And a lot of people around you, even who you love, have
Mhm.
hate and jealousy and
Mhm.
envy, and a materialistic. But the higher you get in terms of ascending to spirituality, in terms of creation and being with the Father, being as one,
Mhm.
and your realization, it's a lonely path.
Absolutely.
But you understand, you don't criticize, you understand, and you look at everybody. Like I looked at my father.
Mhm.
I had a conversation with my father before he died. I said, so what made you just keep lying like that? You know, I really asked him, I was
Mhm.
interviewing him, you know what I
Mhm.
mean? And he says, I wanted to believe that I could do that and it sounded good, but I knew that,
Mhm.
there are people like now that say stuff and don't do it.
Oh yeah.
A lot of people,
Oh yeah.
their thoughts and their actions
Don't align.
They're
Right.
just far apart, like
Right.
night and day,
Right.
I'm gonna do this, but they don't follow through it.
Mhm.
I can recognize those kind of people.
Mhm.
I mean, me and James C was
Mhm.
somebody we was trying to work with, and the guy would say, okay, listen, he's going to come. And we go, okay, we heard his word, but if he don't come, we're like, so something obviously is not right.
There's a lesson. It's not that something isn't right. He's still working on that lesson that he needs to.
Yeah,
He's
but
here to master.
James C and now we realize there's something lesson he needs to
Right.
get.
So you just give him room, right? So this is where
Yeah.
grace comes in. Like we'll just give. I don't
We
have to
didn't
get
argue.
upset.
Right.
I don't have to call 100
No,
times.
no.
I don't have to call you names. I don't have to do any of this. I can just give you grace and say you still stuck in that classroom,
Right.
and it's okay. It's not up to me to yank you out of that classroom.
Matter of fact, it's a violation to yank somebody
Mhm.
else and make somebody and be mad
Mhm.
with somebody, because really that person don't get mad. Only person who gets mad will be us.
Mm-hmm.
So again, seeing now we just like, okay, whatever, we moving on. In other words,
Mhm.
we're not in the fetal position. Why you didn't come?
Mhm.
We're not doing that because we feel pain, and that's not the lesson. The lesson is when you encounter someone that the lesson is to how you handle things. The reaction is that reaction, because stuff gonna happen
Mhm.
in your life each and every day. I don't care if you're a billionaire, illionaire. stuff happens. The roof will leak. The car would just stop for no reason. The computer was just, you close it down last night. This morning, you open it up and it's just not working. I mean, it's stuff just happened. And that's going to continue now. But your reaction, how you handle it, is key.
How you respond to things that happen.
Yes.
And so keeping that understanding, that understanding, the mindset of, okay, what is this teaching me? That's why it's so important to analyze things and to not be sucked into victim mode. Like, this is happening for me. It's not happening to me. What is the lesson here? And so for those of you out there listening, I titled this, You Picked Your Parents and Your Problems, because we all have different challenges throughout life. However, you will do better for yourself and progress differently if you start looking at it from a space of, what is this teaching me? And not on a surface level. You may start at the surface, but keep going deeper. Keep going deeper. Like, but wait, there's more. What else could this be teaching me? What else am I here to learn? And that's with every experience and every encounter. Something that has been resonating with me this week in my mind is every action is either a show of love or a cry for love.
Yes, that's true.
Every action that someone takes.
Yes, it is.
And even the ones that you make. And so like when you really sit with that, and this person may be doing the most, maybe cussing you out, maybe lying, whatever the case may be, every action, if you start to look at it through that lens and say, okay, I'm having this experience. Is this person showing love, or is this person crying for love? Every action is a show of love or a cry for love. And ask yourself that as well. Like when you catch yourself, because sometimes we be acting up and we be like, girl, why you acting like this? Like, why you do it? Like, why you just have to laugh at yourself, right? And so in that moment, as you feel that energy starting to shift, and as you feel you getting a little worked up, you can ask, okay, what's going on? Am I crying for love right now? Am I desiring something? Or am I showing love? If I'm desiring for something, if I'm crying out for love, is there a different way in which I can articulate my needs instead of cussing them out?
Yeah, I get it. You made me think of something.
Good. I like when it makes you think of something.
Do you remember when I used to always say, you're only responsible if you pick them? If you don't pick the person, then you're not responsible for them. If you don't pick them, you're not responsible for them. But if you pick them, you're responsible for them. So this is my motto for a lot of years. If you picked your friend, you can unpick them. But you couldn't pick your sister, or you couldn't pick your drunk uncle. So you can't be worrying about their actions or what they do because you didn't pick them. If you focus on only who you pick to be in your life, if you focus on, because you are the director, you are the writer, you're the script writer, you're the producer, you're the actor or actress, and you pick the people to play the part in your life. Now,
right before you got here, you planned it out your life. You picked these people.
I used to say, okay, if I pick a wife and it's not going good, I can unpick her. But I didn't pick my drunk father. And I can't unpick him because forever he's going to be my father, whether he's, or I could not pick my mother or my sister, because I wasn't responsible. Listen, I want you to see. So this was my motto. I wasn't responsible how another person act or treats me because I didn't pick them. Now, if I picked you to be my friend, if I picked you to be my girlfriend, if I picked you and it's not gelling with me and I'm having, problems, anxiety, or it's just not gelling right, it's not compatible, then I can unpick you and go somewhere else. In other words, if I pick a job and if it's not, and I don't like this career, I can unpick this career.
You can always unpick.
Right.
You don't get to unpick the lesson that you picked before you are incarnated in this body. Ooh, la la. Come on, say it with me again. You can always unpick, but you don't get to unpick the lesson that you chose before you incarnated in this body.
I like that.
So what that means is
I couldn't unpick my father.
Using even that's used, like you said, if you picked your wife and it's not gelling and you want to pick another wife, so you want to unpick her and pick another wife. You can unpick her, but you don't get to unpick that lesson that you pre-planned before you got here.
That's true, because there was a lesson.
And so the mistake that people make is they go around unpicking and never getting the lesson.
That's true.
So then they're wondering why they're having a seemingly continuous experience. Why does this keep happening
Keep
to
marrying
me?
the same
Why
kind
I
of
keep
person.
doing this? Why do people then they fall into victim mode, right? This is happening. I don't have any luck with women or this and this, or I don't date this color woman. I don't date this kind of man. I don't date all this stuff. But really it's because although in 3D you unpick the person, you can never unpick the lesson. You're here to master the lesson.
And what you're saying is the lesson come in all shapes and sizes and forms, but it's still the lesson.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, wine, it's wine, but it can come in different shapes and bottles.
Yes. And so a continuation of that is how you'll know if you've unpicked the person and mastered the lesson based on how the unpicking process. So if you're going through an unpicking process where you're unpicking your spouse or your job or your friend or whatever the case may be, and it's filled with a lot of anger and malice and lower vibrational emotions and behaviors, you have not learned the lesson.
Right.
So there's a term nowadays that people are using called conscious uncoupling, meaning we're making a conscious decision to uncouple, to not be together anymore. And it doesn't have to be about marriage. It can be about anything in your life. If you're consciously doing that, the key is to be conscious of the fact that we're no longer going to be together without bringing into emotions such as anger, malice, frustration, abuse, like all these different things. So as you listen to this, you're like, okay, Mr. Henderson, I understand what you're saying. I can pick and unpick. You can never, ever, 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 ever unpick the lessons that your soul chose before you came here. And a great indicator is to how does it feel while you're doing? Remember when I went to divorce court, we rode together, and my ex-husband was like, "I've never heard of anybody riding together to divorce court." He was like, "What is this?" And I knew the frequency that I needed to be at, and I did not want this toxic environment to be on this vibration. So much so that when we were in the divorce court room, the judge asked for his ID. And I said, "Do you need my ID as well?" He said, no, I don't need yours. So basically, he was verifying that I had brought the correct person with me to divorce court because it was going so smoothly.
I got it.
You know what I mean?
Yes, yes.
So as I was unpicking him as my husband in the flesh, I did not get to unpick the lesson. I got the lesson and we're still great friends.
But you needed something else.
I needed something else. So y'all don't miss that, because I don't want you just going around unpicking, and then picking new stuff that's still like, hey, you ain't get this lesson. So
let's get back to the people who, because I want them to really understand when you say you pick your mama, you pick your daddy. So if you're in a situation where you're like, really, so let's give an example. So someone who came on the planet and their mother left them on the doorstep and gave them up, left them at the firehouse. So you're saying that person, that soul, picked that journey to be left at the firehouse, motherless, and for someone to adopt them or not adopt them, and for them to go through that whole process.
Exactly.
And you're saying that they soul needed to get a lesson from that.
So you pick the experience. What is the experience that I need to have? So a lesson where a child was left at the fire station, the one that comes to mind for me is a lesson on abandonment. So maybe in a previous life, they were the one that was not present. They were doing the abandoning. Maybe they had 10 children and left them all and weren't present. So now as we incarnate, before we get to, as we're pre-planning and we're getting ready to incarnate, your whole spirit team. And that's another thing. I believe that we incarnate in tribes. So I was with you in 1600. I was with you. I could have been your sister. Like, who knows? I was with you.
So I got another one. So the person who picked the drunk daddy.
You just are we finished with the abandonment issue?
Okay, go ahead.
So
I got more.
Okay, so I want you to think about it from that experience. A lot of times in 3D, that person can get caught up on, my mama left me, I had to go through the system, I had to this and this, instead of zooming out a little bit and understanding, what is this teaching me? So yes, your mother may have, the physical mother that you were born with in the 3D may have abandoned you, but were you still supported? Were you brought into another environment where they loved you and they supported you? So you have to always be analyzing every single move, every interaction, and like, what is this really teaching me on a deeper level? Okay, go to your next one.
So an abusive father, son, so a little boy who's watching his father be abusive to his mother and the family. So you're saying
Hypnotize him.
That-
Find out who he was beating in 1600s.
that so that abusive father, oftentimes the little boy grows up to be an abusive father also. So that means that he did not get the lesson. In other words, my drunk daddy, had I followed my drunk daddy blueprint and I picked him and I became a drunk, because a lot of people have generational drunkenness or abuse or
Traumas.
traumas.
Right. So that's why usually when people have these illnesses, they'll usually say it runs in your family. Oh, this illness runs in the family, or it's because there is a soul lesson in that soul tribe that each person is there to get.
So
It's a common thread.
So oftentimes you find a man who abandoned his children. Oftentimes he was abandoned himself by his father.
Perhaps there is some lesson there.
So therefore he didn't get the lesson. And my lesson was my father, when I saw the path that he was on and how it was just, it was disruptive. My lesson was make sure I don't go that route and go the other route. I've never been drunk in my life because of my father. Because I said I didn't never want to go that route, because I seen the blueprint on where that leads. So I want the audience to relate if you're born into so-called poverty. I mean, some people feel really bad and feel like victims and feel, like they're not blessed. But see, the way I've always looked at it, Heisey, and I always use this metaphor in terms of a card game. I don't know why my view has been like that. Whatever cards or whatever situation that I was dealt when I came to this planet, I felt that it was up to me, like an obstacle, to figure it out and get to higher ground. And I still feel like that now. So therefore, I never got caught up in color. I never got caught up in gender. I really didn't. I just caught up in what I need to do. And I think that's why I get along with women so well. I'm not a male chauvinist, I'm not a male. So first of all, my mother was a woman. Is a woman.
I didn't even say anything.
You look. And
you're not a male chauvinist.
Yeah, I think that I'm pretty. I think if I buy a burger for myself, I'm gonna buy one for you. I mean, I don't say, okay, you talk. It just hit me. You talking about opening the door. I mean, I'm surrounded by strong women, and if it's raining, I'm gonna go and open up the driver's side door. You open up the passenger door so we can hear them get in there. I'm not getting ready to get wet and open up the door for you. That's just not. So I didn't get that lesson. Clearly, I didn't get that lesson.
Clearly,
like you said, we probably in the 1600s. We was fighting and we was battle. We was back to back. All right, so that's how I feel.
So you carried that on in this lesson. So the opening doors,
I'll be around sorry
walking
people, first
faster than a woman, getting on the elevator first.
Come on, I gotta go. I'm not gonna slow it down.
Hurry up, come on.
You walking real slow. I ain't going to put on them stilts, them high heels, and stilettos. We gotta go.
But you will buy me a burger. After you get there, hey, I got your food. You took. I know a bell was coming to get you. You was around the corner, but now that you made it, you made it.
So the way I look at it is, and the way I look at it like this, my viewpoint is there's no blame. I never blame my mother for being a custodian and not having high education and being a lawyer. I never blamed that. I feel that's what she was here, and for me to look at that, because I learned a lot from her, and I learned a lot from my father. I learned a lot from everybody that's around me. I looked at it as, okay, these are the cards that you dealt, Robert. Now make something out of it. And I don't care how you came into this world. Your job is to be better and to improve and to share and to love. And don't be blaming nobody and saying it's somebody's fault. Thank God we weren't born during slavery days. I mean, this time
around. So, oh gosh, I lost my train of thought. How did that happen?
Reason why I'm saying this, I want you to talk to the person who feel victimized.
Oh, so that's what I was gonna say. Thank you for bringing me back. Good job, teamwork. 1,600 strong.
There's a lot of people stuck on being victims.
So, well, I always say, and as you were speaking, I was thinking about that, reminding you that you always get to make a new choice. So looking at life from this perspective of what is this teaching me? I chose this. When you look at life from this perspective of I chose this reality, I chose this time, I chose my parents, I chose the place, the city I was born in, I chose all of these lessons, not down to the experiences, because we still have free will. And the lessons will play out in different ways. But if you choose that, and if you understand that, then you can start asking yourself, what is this teaching me? And am I ready to get the lesson? And it's important for you to ask yourself, am I ready to get the lesson? Because when you do that, then it's almost like you standing up in the classroom and saying, all right, I'm ready to move from the back of the class with the people who are throwing paper airplanes and stuff like that. I'm ready to move to the front of the class where I can sit right there next to the teacher and I can get more information. I can learn. I can really hone in into what this lesson, this algebra that she's teaching me. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes
So
sense.
like sometimes we intentionally go and sit at the back of the room. Anybody that knows me now know that it don't matter where we at, I'm walking to the front of the room. I am walking 1,000 people in there. I'm walking straight to the front. It looks packed, no seats. I'm walking to the front because I want to send the message that I'm supposed to be here and I want to get what I'm supposed to get. So for those of you who are listening and you may be having more challenging experiences and you may be in that space of feeling victimized and you never heard this perspective before, use this as an indicator to say, okay, let me get my grip and let me get to the front of the classroom, because now I need to pay attention in a different way. I need to understand how the interactions are happening. I need to really look at the bigger picture and see what's happening and how this is teaching me, even though it may be uncomfortable. Because when you are learning something, you are uncomfortable most of the times. Do you agree with that?
When you're really learning.
When you're really learning now,
you don't know it.
Exactly. It's
Right.
foreign. So understanding that you're here to get the lesson does not relieve you from uncomfortableness. You're here to get the lesson. Now that you understand, I'm moving to the front of the classroom. I'm not back here where y'all was throwing paper airplanes and passing notes anymore. I'm no longer distracted. I am now tapped in. I may have to write this a couple times. I may have to actually study. I may have to do something different so that I can get a different result and then move on from this lesson and go to the next classroom.
So you know what you're talking about and what you're discussing. It requires a lot of thought and definitely requires a lot of attention and focus.
Absolutely.
And if you want to be on this journey, you all, and pick up what HiC really is putting down, it takes away from a lot of dumb stuff, a lot of stuff that you seemingly care about. Because when you venture off to really get the truth, because I believe we all have the capacity to walk through walls or time travel. We just haven't figured it out yet because we just being lazy, so to speak, and we just go on with the flow. But when you on a path of discovery, finding out who you are, who you belong to, and there is no limits, and that you are an infant, wherever you are, you're still an infant. You really are, in terms of truth and understanding and wisdom. You really are, because it's infinite. It's there's no you don't get to the top of the class. It goes on and on and on. And when you're focused on that and trying to become all you could become, and you're trying to be best, a lot of the material stuff, a lot of the silly stuff, a lot of the useless arguments or hate or fighting, a lot of that drops off because you're in search of something much better and higher. And most people don't even know what that is. They haven't even looked inside of them. So if you really want to pick up what HiC's putting down, it does require you to get rid of a whole lot of artificial habits and a whole lot of artificial seemingly must-haves, because you really don't have to have a lot of things that fade away. And most things that are not true fade and pass away. And as you grow and as you look back in terms of your journey, you'll see a lot of things that you cared about so much. They've gotten old, they faded away, and they don't matter anymore. I mean, you really. So when you start seeking the truth, you're seeking things that you can't really purchase with currency. It's the knowing, and it gives you a sense of peace. And people can see that peace in you, and you have love. And the Creator put even more greatness on your path, and you begin to illuminate. And then when people hear you talk, or you can really help people, because I think that it's all about sharing. I think that we have been dummied down into this materialism stuff, this bling bling stuff, and the system that we're living in. knows that, and it treats us like dummies, so to speak. And a lot of us act like that, but we're much better. We're much better. And when you start focusing on who am I, where did I come from? So I want to ask you a question.
Mhm.
This ideology, this understanding, this realization, how did you, is this something you read, or how did your soul seek this, um, try to get clarity on this? And when did that start?
So it started before I incarnated, right? So this is a part of my soul's plan. And something that I want to say before I forget it is all lessons lead to love. The ultimate lesson is love. All lessons, all experiences,
Yes.
the ultimate lesson leads to love. And so as you're making an assessment and asking yourself, did I really get the lesson? Feel your heart. How does your heart feel? Does it feel light? Does it feel weighed down with malice? Does it feel weighed down with hate? Does it feel weighed down with revenge? All lessons lead to love. So when did this start? So my soul pre-planned it. I remember back when I was going to FIU. So this had to be back in maybe 2002, because I was working here and I was going to FIU. Back in 2002, I took a class, Mythicism, and Religion. Don't know why I took the class, but at the time I took that class and I really enjoyed that class. And one of the books that we read, I'm going to share it with y'all. It's titled Many Lives, Many Masters by Dr. Brian Weiss, Weiss, Many Lives, Many Masters. And I remember reading that book and the other books in that class, and everything just resonated with me so deeply.
Mhm.
I didn't have to
Mhm.
I didn't have to have the instructor like teach it to me on like it just clicked. It resonated on a deeper level. So that was in 2002. Then, as y'all may know, I dropped out of school because I was making money. I was like, school ain't for me. I don't need school no more, right?
That kind of school.
So right. So
Learning still continues.
every day now there are books. Actually, I need you to put some more bookshelves in my house too. I got more. Fast forward to 2011. So my son was born in 2010. Before his first birthday, my son started saying things that let me know that he had been here before. Now he was barely one, and the things that he was saying to me, think about a 1-year-old talking, like the things that he was saying to me, I was like, oh wait. So I dug up all my books and I was like, okay, let me go. And I started, and then at that time I read Dr. Weiss's book, Only Love is Real. So that's 2 books. So anyway, that started reminding me what I already knew about metaphysics, spirituality, and things like that. And you journey through and you have experiences, and sometimes you get off track a little bit because you're still having a human experience. One thing that I started to realize is, okay, before I say this, let me tie this in. When I was in high school, this is around the time when I don't think I was sleeping in school during this time. This is the time when you told me that you would buy me a BMW if I made straight A's.
Well, you was sleeping prior to that.
Prior to that, right? So I was still a sleepy child. So what I would do is I would catch the bus home from high school and I would make me something to eat and I would go to sleep. I would go right to sleep and I would sleep for hours and hours. And then I would get up at night, maybe like 8, 9 o'clock at night, do my homework really quickly because it was so easy for me. And then I go back to sleep. This day, when I went home, did my routine, made something to eat, laid on the couch, went to sleep. All of a sudden, I'm awakened by a man, and we were living in the hood. I was at my mom's house, so we were in the hood at this time. I'm awakened by a man banging on the door. And when I look out the window, it's a guy who has like tan skin, so maybe like Mexican, long hair, and he's like, fire, fire, house on fire. And I'm like, huh? And so we had 2 doors. We had the iron door and the regular door, and I had to get the key to unlock. He's like, fire, fire. So by the time I opened the door, he was gone. So we were living in a duplex, and the other side of the duplex was on fire. So anyway, I called my dad, I called my mom, everything like that. And my mom brought it to my attention. She was like, where's the man who woke you up and told you that the house was on fire? She said, when you went outside, did you see him? And I was like, no. And she was like, how is he? How did he look? So she's like, in this neighborhood. You think he was in this neighborhood? So anyway, that was my first encounter that I was aware of with a being, a supernatural being.
Something that you couldn't
Right.
outwardly describe or
So then
understand.
what started happening is when I was out here living my best life, single, sexy, and free, and doing, everything, making my own money and all this stuff like that, every now and again, I would get off track and I would be in my body, but all of a sudden, a wave of energy would come over me to make me feel like I was out of my body. And so it would be like moving me, almost like I would say my spirit guide shaking the out of me, like, girl, what are you doing? Right. So when I started connecting those dots,
Mhm.
it encouraged me to further study. So I kept receiving signs along the way to study and learn and research. And so now, if you walk into my house right now upstairs, in my bed, there are probably like 7 books in the bed with me. On the floor, you got like 3 piles of books on my desk. So I'm always studying, I'm always learning, I'm always reading, I'm always exploring, because my soul is leading the way and I'm listening to it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, you're thirsty.
Yeah.
You have a thirst for knowledge.
So that's how we got here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Although sometimes, like the other day, I was thinking, I'm like, I'm really tired of eating, broccoli. I really want to start eating burgers again. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, I never had a donut burger. All this time, I could have had a donut burger. I didn't have a donut burger, but now that I know better, am I never gonna have a donut burger?
What a thought. That was a weed.
But it's
weed.
the trade-off, right?
Yeah.
So I've had that experience where I ate it wherever I wanted to eat, and I know how my body felt. I know where my mind was. I know the brain fog that I experienced. And so ultimately, people don't realize that is really why I changed my diet and my eating habits, is because I started to realize I was having some slippage. Then I was feeling, I'm like, what's going on?
Well, at least you're focused and you're trying to,
But it's a sacrifice. A donut burger tastes good. You never had a donut burger?
No.
In my mind, it tastes good. I never had one either.
No. Donut burger.
A donut burger. Get you 2 Krispy Kreme donuts. Get you an all beef patty with some cheddar cheese.
Ooh, man, that seems
and
like that seems like heart attack stuff.
I never had it.
That seems like artery clogging, cholesterol. I can't. That doesn't even sound good. But if you say a banana split or something, nuts and stuff.
When I get 90, I'm gonna have me a donut burger. I'm telling you, by that time, my kids gonna be grown. So at 90, I'm gonna have me a donut burger. Y'all mark my words. I may do it live wherever we at.
That means her lower self would have won.
Absolutely, my children will be grown. Yes. So I'm like, y'all good.
So those of y'all who just tuning in, we're talking about you pick them. You picked your parents. You picked your mother. You picked whatever you came, however you came here on this planet when you was born. You had something to do with it. It didn't readily seem like that, because a kid will say, Dad, why you had me? I'm born into this poor family, or born into this family, and they all doing all kind of the gangsters or whatever, and I don't want to do that. Well, as I see, we're having this discussion about, little do you know, deep down, soul wise, you picked the situation and you needed to go through that. Does that also that did also count in terms of race too? Because
absolutely.
Because for your soul to pick the black race, the most discriminated race on the planet, for thousands of years.
You got some work to do.
That means yes, you got some work to do, because you come into you're gonna. It's a tough journey. It's not like a layup. I mean, you really have to, in order to come into this world and have this kind of melanin in you. That you have to work, because people are going to be able to look at you and say and judge you just by the color of your skin. And other races, they're not looked at first at the color of their skin, and no, there's no assumption about them. But if you picked like you said, you picked your journey, then all of us who are full of this melanin and we are dark, that means that we actually said, okay, I want the hard stuff.
Absolutely.
I want 1,000%. The hard stuff. I have to believe that, because I that's how I look at life. I look at, hey, life gives me lemons, I'm gonna make lemonade. But I'm not gonna sit and let my lemons just spoil in the corner. I'm gonna make lemon meringue, lemon pie. I'm gonna make all kind of lemon, because it's creation.
Instead of saying, well, I got these lemons, I really wanted cherries, or I want an avocado, right, and not realizing that the lemons that you have can be used in a number of ways.
That's right. And it's up to you, and your journey is make something out of this. Okay. Now you here, what are you going to do about it? And that's why I use the metaphor of the world is like a card game. Life is like a card game, and the dealer deals you, each of us, different cards. You have to do something, spread, throw out, or make something out your hand. But it's your job, because it's your life. So you need to focus on learning how to play the game of life. and all about it.
One thing that will help you all that I hold front and center is that as long as you have air in this shell, the story continues.
Yes.
It continues. That is so freeing. Like, really think about that, because oftentimes when you're in victim mode, victim state, victim mindset, you're like, everything is coming down on you. This is what I'm experiencing. This is all I ever had. This is all to be continued. Like, you can literally say, hold up, wait a minute, let me get up from. That's why I gave you that visual of moving from the back of the classroom. Now in my mind, I'm seeing you being buried under these rocks, and you're saying, let me move this boulder, let me move that boulder, let me move. You can literally, I don't want anyone to make you believe that you cannot. That is the trick of the enemy. You need to get away from them quick, fast, and in a hurry. But you can literally say, wait a minute, I'm still breathing. The story continues. I can do something different. I can do something different. I don't have to be. My father was a drunk, and maybe for the first 40 years of my life, I was a drunk too. Right? And people know me as Ned the Wino. And I can't keep a job.
Sober up.
And you decide and say, I'm not drinking no more.
I'm not gonna play this role anymore.
I'm not. I'm taking that off. Okay, since you say this is just a suit, let me take this suit off. Let me take the suit of Ned the Wino off. Let me take the suit of being irresponsible with money. Let me take the suit of spending it before I get it off. Let me put all that back. Let me take the suit of bad credit off. Let me take the suit of not having no retirement. Let me take the suit of being a deadbeat daddy, of deadbeat mama. Let me take all those suits off. Let me take the suit of being a half behind individual doing half behind job instead of really putting your best into it. Let me take the suit of laziness off. Let me take that suit off. I'm not even going to hang it up in the closet. I'm going to burn it because I don't need it anymore. And now I get to choose another suit.
And in order to do that, knowing that the challenge is supposed to be seemingly hard.
Yeah.
Because if it was easy, everybody would do it. Yeah. And if you want to make it to the promised land and get to that place, that mental state where Heisey's talking about, be prepared to jump over some hurdles and to be uncomfortable. Part of the journey to getting to your higher self is being uncomfortable and not knowing. It requires faith and belief. You really, really have to believe it, and you really have to have faith. You really do, because if it was just so easy, everybody would do it.
Yeah. My wish is for everyone who's listening to this, everyone who's connected to the Henderson Financial Group, everyone who's connected now, will be connected in the future, who was connected in the past, to choose to be financially wealthy, to choose to be financially independent, to choose to be financially secure. Like, that is my wish for all of you. Just to make that decision. Like, right now, I'm no longer having that positive poverty mindset. I'm not having that scarcity mindset. I'm not moving this way. I am making the decision right now. I am putting on that wealth suit. I'm putting on the abundance suit. I'm putting on the life of luxury suit. I'm putting on the well-traveled suit. I'm putting on the multiple property owner suit. I'm putting on the successful business suit. Like, I'm literally putting on this suit, because in order for you to actually have the suit and wear the suit in your life, you got to decide first. It doesn't happen the other way around. Most people think that you see it and then you believe it, but first you have to believe it and then you see it, because you can never absolutely. Most people think that you see it and then you believe it. If you don't believe it until you've seen it, you late.
Yes,
it's like you late. If y'all, but if you ain't, listen, for those of you who making desserts for tomorrow, if you ain't already boil your potatoes and all that, you late. You late. You don't do the desserts the same day you do the dinner. So if you're in the space of where you're saying, I have to see it first, then I can believe it. Oh, baby, you're behind the 8 ball. So when I'm asking you to pick a new suit, when I'm declaring and claiming financial abundance and financial ease and flow over your life, I'm asking you to really believe that you can have that. Mr. Henderson is an example of that. I am an example of that. I had my first child at 19 years old, not a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out. Mr. Henderson had a drunk daddy, right? He grew up in the hood and all these different things. But at some point, we had to make a choice. So when you think about where you want to go, you have to say, okay, I got to believe this first, and then I'll see it. And really, the choice is up to you. You can do one or two things. You can still keep believing the people who are around you that like, don't listen to that. It sounds good, but you can choose that. You can choose to believe them, or you can choose to believe something that you ain't really heard of, you ain't really too sure of, but it ain't crack, but you're going to try it.
And you got help.
You got the blueprint.
Right. You got help.
The blueprint.
There's a blueprint.
Yeah.
You got help. Just call 305
825
825
1444.
1444. That's all you have to do. And you
Yes.
can go on our website too at www.the, got to put the in it first. Got to put the HendersonFinancialGroup.com. www.thehendersongroup, HendersonFinancialGroup.com. But there's help because you're never alone. You're really not, because the way to create or set everything up is when you're ready.
Mhm.
Teacher will come. The people will come in your path who you never even known. But you have to make a step. You can't just sit in the bed or say it ain't gonna happen. You got to have a positive thought, positive mind, and you got to believe that it's going to get better. And I tell you, it will.
Mhm.
And we at the Henderson Financial Group, we would help you. So we want to work on your mind. Why do you keep spending all your money? Why do you keep buying the newest clothes and the newest this and that? Why do you feel who are you trying to impress? You're 40 years old. It's not like you 16 years old. Ain't nobody watching you.
But that means you haven't gotten the lesson,
That
right?
mean-
So you haven't
yeah.
mastered that. The same lesson at 16 when you was begging your mama who was working 3 jobs to buy you the Air Jordans, that same lesson that you didn't get then, at 40, you're still working on it.
Yeah.
If you're like, I don't gotta ask my mama no more. Now I can go buy me all the colors at one time. I can get the ticket. Like, you still ain't learned that lesson. And lesson is you don't really need that. Like,
Yeah.
the shoes don't make the man.
I was reading about an article, and they were saying about Rick Ross is a hoarder. Did you see that?
I didn't see it, but I know
Oh
because he
my-
has all them cars and all
Oh
this.
my
Yeah.
God! They say he's a hoarder. And they showed a
Mhm.
picture of his house,
Yeah.
and he had clothes all over like a bag
Mhm.
lady, like a hoarder.
Mhm.
And he had clothes and all
Mhm.
kind of. He just kept buying more. So there's something that's missing that he feel things and stuff can fulfill. Let me tell you something. Give you some good deep stuff. First of all, there's nothing on the planet that can give you peace like peace.
Mm.
There's nothing, there's no amount of money that you can amass that can consciously give you peace. And it's all about peace and love and simplicity. There is nothing. I don't care if you had a billion billion. I don't care if you're a celebrity and they're taking pictures every time you walk out the door. Your body, you crave peace.
And only you can give you that. Nobody can give you that.
And boy, you can't buy that.
Mm-mm.
You can't buy. I don't care how many cars, how many planes, how many yachts. Nah, man, because it gets to the point, they all around you because they want to get something from you.
Mhm.
And just that thought, you got to produce. You got to look a certain way. When you don't feel like it, let me tell you something, man. All you got to do is talk to an entertainer or a celebrity, somebody who you worship and want to be like. They'll tell you it is hell.
It's challenging.
It is
I'm not
challenging.
gonna say but it's
Oh,
challenging. There are
man.
trade-offs, as we like to talk about.
That's why you see
Yeah.
a lot of wealthy people. They can do things with money and help other people. They walk around in jeans and a t-shirt on. They don't have all the stuff bling because
Mhm.
they don't have to show nobody because they already know within they got it.
Mhm.
They're rich. You're supposed to feel rich and prosperous inside
Mhm.
where you are.
Mhm.
You really do, because you can help somebody, because somebody always have lesser than you. Less. So
All
listen,
right. You doing the
we
show
gotta wrap it up.
Saturday?
Yeah, I'm doing the show Saturday.
So today is Wednesday. Mr. Henderson will be back on Saturday at 9 a.m. for the Understanding Money Show, 9 a.m. in the a.m. It will be on the Facebook, the Henderson Financial Group page. It may be on the YouTube, the Henderson Financial Group page as well. Stick around and see if that's going to happen. And then at 10:15, the Understanding Money Part 2 show will air live as well this Saturday. And then next week, we will be back on Wednesday
Yes.
for transitions. We
Time
come
is
on
flying.
like 12-ish,
Happy
12:30.
Thanksgiving.
Can you believe that you're going to say time is flying? We're in December already.
Well, right now it's still November.
Do you remember when I was probably last year when I would say it's 8 billion people on a plane? You said, "Hi, see, it's not 8 billion people, it's 7 billion." Do you remember saying that to me?
No.
Live on the air. I got to find the tape.
All right.
And now guess what?
8 billion.
So just like that, guess what?
It's 44 million black folks.
December. Yeah. 44 million.
13%.
That's it.
17% Spanish.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll get into that in another show.
Yeah. That means you count.
You count. But are you acting as if you count?
That's right. What
are you being
doing?
a victim?
Are
Are you
you-
being the
Are you
victim
representing?
or are you being the victor?
Do you know your power?
You have a choice.
Yes.
All right. Until
Happy
next
Thanksgiving.
time.
Happy Thanksgiving. Don't eat too much. Be safe.
There's an article. I posted an article on the Henderson Financial Group page for those who eat a lot and have to handle that situation. All right. Peace.
Peace.
It didn't end.